I heard it all the same. But go ahead, amuse me. I need it now. I need it now. All them pretty words, always lame. You're trying to entice me. Not going down. Not going down. And you trying to make a case. Don't wait. 'Cause you about to be erased, aced. I got too much love for me. Got too much love for me. Got too much love for me.
On our episode on domestic violence, we covered both physical and emotional abuse. In this episode, we would like to expand a little bit more on one of the most detrimental forms of emotional abuse, which is gaslighting. Emotional abuse is sometimes harder to heal from than physical abuse. And why is this? This is because emotional abuse targets our self-esteem. It targets our sanity, especially gaslighting. And although gaslighting can be used by anyone, it is mostly used by individuals with narcissistic personality disorder or narcissistic tendencies, as well as sociopaths. And it is so important to know and be aware of this, because gaslighting just creeps in. The person who uses gaslighting as mind control, because is basically what gaslighting is, mind control, they use this so well and so secretly that before you know it, you are wrapped in this and you don't even know what happened. Although we can be healed from gaslighting, it takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of self-love. And it takes a lot of being surrounded by people who understand this. And fortunately, Vera House has resources that can help you heal from gaslighting, emotional abuse, which is gaslighting is a form of emotional abuse, as well as physical abuse. You can contact Vera House at verahouse.org, but we will be going a little bit more into it in a minute. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Ana Gil, and I am the producer and host of Officially-Unofficial TV, and I am also a pretty awesome headshots photographer. Here at Officially-Unofficial, we cover a lot of topics that have to do with mental health, spirituality, as well as parental relationships, actually all types of relationships. So feel free to look through our playlist. We have a lot of great information and resources there for you. But for now, let us go into our guest, Randy Breckman, who talked about gaslighting, what gaslighting looks like, and how you can get help if you need it.
Gaslighting is connected to the fact that many times someone who's causing harm to the person they're in relationship with is trying to label the person they're in relationship with as crazy. They have mental health issues, they're crazy, they're not a reliable source. So there's this you're crazy, they're crazy thing that's buzzing around them. And then gaslighting is this taking something that's not true and trying to convince the person that it is truth. So, for example, you may have gaslighting where you can't find your keys and you look everywhere and you started where you usually keep them in the kitchen and they weren't there, and you looked all over the house and you came back and you said to the partner who causes you harm, I just spent half an hour looking for my keys, and they say, your keys are hanging on the hook right there. So they're making you think you're crazy, but they actually are using their control to make you feel crazy. They are pulling the rug out from under you, creating situations that don't make any sense just to cause you harm and make you question yourself. Because what gaslighting does is it makes victims and survivors think, am I crazy? Is this me? And I think you're absolutely right on it to point out what an important part of this is, because if you're thinking you're crazy, then you're going to question even more. Should I be making a move? Do I trust myself to have the judgment to figure out what I should do? So I think very important, but I have a sense you have something to add too from the way you brought it up. Am I right?
Gaslighting was one of the his main source of what he did, and I didn't even know what gaslighting was. I didn't even know that existed. I mean, how can someone who like you mentioned, right? There's good and there's like not so good. How is someone who would do so many wonderful things for me and treat me to all of these extravagant things and oh my gosh, this guy is perfect. How could this person have this horrible side? So that's when then you start questioning, wait, I'm not looking at this the right way. Because look at this, and you have to be so strong and so courageous and just believe in yourself that you are not crazy.
Right.
Especially
you have to convince yourself, I am not crazy, and therefore this is another way the person is trying to harm me. And that takes a while because, I was talking before about people who cause harm having an external locus of control and blaming the victim or survivor for their feelings and behaviors. That works really well because many times victims and survivors have an internal locus of control. So they think they have control over things that they don't. So if I act a little differently, if I focus attention on them, if I do these things, I can control the behavior of the other. And that also isn't true. And so that internal and external come together. And when somebody is gaslighting you and making you think you're crazy, then you just get caught in a spin and can't find your way out of the situation. So thank you for raising it. I think it's a really important point.
You are so welcome. It definitely is. In this conversation, I would love to continue this conversation. This is so important, and we are going to have part 2. But Randy, you mentioned that you guys at Vera House were super busy. One has to do with, with the pandemic and everything that came with it and the lack of volunteers. How can volunteers sign up to help Vera House?
Well, we make that pretty easy. If you go onto our website at verahouse.org and it says, how can I help? There's a page that says volunteering, and there's a volunteer application right on there. And we are really dependent on volunteers to provide a lot of our core services. We have volunteers helping to answer our 24-hour support line, helping to cover that chat. We're now doing 7 days a week. That's a wonderful opportunity for people you can sit at home on your computer. Once we get you set up, you can be doing other things that you need to do at that time and just responding when a chat comes in. We also assist people, our volunteers help with orders of protection, and our volunteers respond to sexual assault victims at the hospital all of the evening, overnight, and weekend hours that sexual assault victims come to the hospital needing assistance. So if you are interested in volunteering, please go to our website, take a look around. You can email if you have any questions, or you can feel free to fill out that application.
Yes. So do the volunteers have to have a specific training on?
We do extensive training. We're not going to have you walk in here and say, let me answer your support line. We're going to do an extensive orientation. That's right now it's all virtual. Some of it is synchronous, some asynchronous. So you'll all be on with other volunteers at the same time. And then also during the week, you'll be watching some videos and reading some materials and then coming back together to talk about them. And then we do what's really a mentorship or coaching process, so that someone who wants to answer support line calls, after they get trained, they would sit with somebody else taking the call. Then that person would sit with them when they take a call. So we would give you lots of training.
We are definitely going to have part 2. And part 2 is going to be about healthy relationships. What do healthy relationships feel and look like? And when we talk about relationship, we're not just focusing on intimate relationships. We're going to be discussing all types of relationships, co-workers, right? Business relationships, parent-child relationship, intimate relationships, friendships, because gaslighting can happen in any relationship. And narcissistic relationships they're just horrible relationships. So we're going to be making you aware of what a healthy relationship looks like. Actually, we have some episodes of a narcissistic relationship. There's a survival story on the playlist, which I will link to the description of this episode so that you can get more examples of what a narcissistic relationship is like. And my guest gave very detailed shared very detailed experiences of when she was in this relationship and how she healed from this, because that is very important. Once you go through a narcissistic relationship and you get out of it, the healing you have to heal so that you can move on and have healthy relationships and not repeat that pattern. But that is it for now. Replay this episode. Replay it, ask questions, reach out to Vera House. They have a free chat, as you will see in the closing screen, and as you saw on the opening screen, they have free chat, and they also have a lot of free resources. Just feel free to go to their website. And if you have any questions, or actually if you would like to be a guest on Officially Unofficial TV, you can send me an email at officiallyunofficialtv@gmail.com for consideration. And also, if you would like to support Officially Unofficial or be a sponsor of Officially Unofficial episodes, you can send us a Buy Me a Coffee. It is an application where you don't even have to be a member or sign up with Buy Me a Coffee. You can just make your donations from your own account. So it's pretty easy to donate or be a sponsor. So if you have any questions about that, you can send us an email at officiallyunofficialtv@gmail.com. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. Any questions that you have, if you're watching the replay, please feel free to ask us questions and we'll be happy to answer them. This is Ana Gil with Officially Unofficial, and we come live every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, although this episode is pre-recorded. Thank you so much. This is Ana Gil, and I will see you next Thursday. Bye, everybody.
I got too much love for me. 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 So much more.